Now, there's another situation where I think this blaster really shines, and I haven't really seen anybody talking about this, so I just kind of want to talk about it right now. High-powered, half-length, super drum. I didn't think I was going to be able to say all of those things about one blaster until now. Of course, I'm talking about the Dart Zone Max Tomcat. Let's get into it. Alright, so I've got a lot of opinions about this blaster, but before we get into any of that, let's get started with what's in the box. Starting with the core blaster itself. To be honest, I don't know why, maybe it's just me, but the design language has like a animatronic saber-toothed tiger vibe, maybe something along the lines of like Voltron, if you guys are old enough to remember that, or like a Power Rangers Megazord. I don't know why, with all the little triangle bits and the lines and separations, it just gives off that vibe to me without any attachments even on it yet. It also comes with this muzzle, a front sight, a rear sight, a 50-round super drum. In order to insert the drum, you do need to have the blaster cocked back. Then, you pull out these tabs on either side and twist the back in order to lock it into place. From there, you simply just give it a good little bop, and from there, you can spin it with a nice, very satisfying spin. Once you're all loaded up or ready to store the blaster, if you prime the blaster, you are no longer able to move this. This is very similar to the mechanism on the Deuce Pro, but on a much bigger scale. Speaking of loading up, it also comes with 50 of these Dart Zone Max darts. These can be loaded in one of two ways. The first rounds can be loaded here through these holes in the back. Once you reach the point where you're ready to load additional darts, place your second layer of darts on the outside and then push on the rubber tips through this little gap in order to keep from damaging the foam of the dart. This is very similar, but infinitely better than the method for loading for the Tomahawk 60. Another thing that's really cool about this blaster shell is it has the end strike attachment points, which means any of the existing stocks that you have for your Nerf branded blasters with this attachment point will work. But you don't have to do that because they included a stock of its own. I did not expect it, but despite already being excited for this blaster, I'm actually more excited for this stock than anything else on it. It's very cool, very versatile, and very sturdy. Of course, you can pop it on and off using the end strike attachment point. You can also pinch this button here to lengthen or shorten it to fit your needs. In addition to that, there's an adjustable cheek riser. The fact that it comes with a cheek riser at all is kind of cool, but the fact that it's both removable and adjustable is even cooler. And I can see myself totally using this on other blasters. In fact, I have one that comes to mind right now, but I'll save that for another video. That being said, under the cheek riser is actual Picatinny, which is super cool. I don't know what you would mount back there, but you guys are creative, so let me know down in the comments if you have any interesting ideas. Maybe rear mounting your sight back here. Not that that would do any good. Either way, it's a very sturdy stock, even when fully extended. That's not going anywhere. And for the cheek riser, that adjustability really does come in handy. In addition to all that, it comes with these safety glasses in the box. These are the same ones that you can get with the Dart Zone Max Dictator. If you'd like to see my full review on that blaster, I'll leave a link somewhere around here. But between now and then, I've kind of changed my perspective on these glasses. And the reason why is, at that point, I felt they were maybe a little overpriced at $10. And I still think it's possible that they are. But I don't think it's fair to compare these to what I originally was comparing them to in my head, which is the $5 Nerf ones that you could get. These are definitely of a higher quality, better branding and all that stuff. I still don't think these would be my first choice, but this is a great starter option. It even comes with premium little rubber inserts here, which are in fact removable if you don't like them. Plus some cool branding, which is something Nerf never really did with their glasses, and Dart Zone didn't used to do even with their Pro glasses, so definitely an upgrade. And it's also a good in-between point between something like those basic, couple dollar ones and something more advanced like what I tend to wear in competition, which are some Milwaukee safety rated glasses from Home Depot, or I'm pretty sure you can get them in Amazon. If I do find a link for them there, I'll throw it down in the description. Either way, I do think it's cool that they're including this stuff. Just wanted to kind of get that out of the way. Back to the blaster itself. I really like the iron sights on here. It's a 4-to-1, but like it really gives off that, true to the name, cat vibe. And I know that the Tomcat is not really supposed to be a reference to a cat, but they definitely took full creative liberty with curating a design that is consistent with a cat. Now, the design of this blaster does share elements from other blasters. I did mention the Tomahawk 60 earlier. I think that this is a half-length evolution of the drum from that blaster, which held 60 darts, but they were full length, and the top layer had to be, you had to damage the dart in order to get them in properly. Something with these new heads that you don't really have to deal with, and a lot of heads that are narrow that should be going through a breach like this. But in terms of concept of how the blaster actually functions, it does share aspects of the Deuce Pro in terms of how it actually indexes. By clicking that last little bit of your prime, you can index the next section of the blaster. However, just messing around with it, it doesn't seem to suffer from the same over-rotation, probably due to the fact that the drum itself is much bigger, and the force required is much greater to make it over-rotate. To some extent, it also possibly shares some DNA with the Villainator. Hard to say exactly because they've got so many innovative designs. I think this is going to be a popular candidate for a half-dart conversion. I'm sorry, a half-length mag conversion. And I think I may have already stumbled across a design I like. If and when I order that design, or one like it, I'll probably make an update video. If there is a video for that, I'll link that somewhere up above. In the meantime, let's talk about how it comes. There's only a few basic textures here, but the placement's really good and the color separation's really good. There's absolutely no paint, which is something that's pretty common these days with some of the Dart Zone mid-tier blasters. Being that it's from the Max line, I definitely expect some awesome FPS numbers, something in the 150 range. But you know what? Let's go ahead and take it over the chronograph and see how it performs. Alright guys, we got the Tomcat all loaded up here. As you can see, we've got 5 of the Max darts that it comes with, and then another set of 5 of bamboo darts because they produce higher FPS because they're lighter. Starting with the Max darts. 180, 158, 184, 190, 183, and that's all of them. Alright, now we're going to shoot the other 5 bamboo darts. 185, 184, 182, 183, and 187. Well, as you already know, I'm a big fan of if you can, you should. So let's get that muzzle on there and see if, like other Nexus Pro, Aeon Pro type blasters, you can fit a Meg in here and shoot it. Seems like it fits. Let's see the FPS. $59. That's not bad. What about a rival ball? So realistically, it doesn't really fit in there. It just kind of like pressurized in there. Just enough for it to not come out, but not enough for it to be shot. What about a situation where you're on the field, you run out of ammo, and other people are using full lengths? Could you front load the barrel? Let's find out. 151 with a front-loaded shot, full length? I'll take it. Let's head back inside and I'll give you some thoughts on it. Wow, okay, so this thing is performing way hotter on FPS than I was expecting. I had messed around, I had heard that you could hit 170 with this blaster. I kind of thought, oh, you can hit 170, like you can hit a high of 170. But, I mean, you saw, with its own ammo, this thing hit a high of 190, a low of 158, and had an average of about 179 FPS across the board with the Dart Zone Max ammo. That is beyond impressive. Like, this blaster retails for I think like 69.99. It has no right to hit almost 200 FPS for any of its shots without any modification, and yet it does. So of course I tested it with its own ammo, but I also tested it with the bamboo ammo. Yeah, I mean, bamboo darts are something that we usually test as well because they're also from Dart Zone and they're their highest level of performance according to them. It's not necessarily something I agree with, but it's what their claim is, so it's our job to test those claims and see if they're right or wrong. That being said, we've got a high of 187, a low of 182 with the bamboo darts, and an average of 184, so a higher, more consistent average, but the highest of its highs wasn't quite as high as with the max darts. It's kind of unusual, but the reason why generally bamboo darts perform better in any blaster, at least in terms of FPS, is because they're lighter. Now, something that they're prone to, because they're lighter, is some suffering in maybe the accuracy department, especially at longer and distances of engagement. But let's go ahead and get on the range and test that out and see how the accuracy of this blaster is overall, without any rifling attachments, just right out of the box. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to these results, especially with these power numbers. Alright guys, so just like in the previous test, I got 5 of the max darts loaded up and 5 of the bamboo darts loaded up. We're going to shoot them and see how accurately this blaster fires. Starting with the max darts. Hit. 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 Alright, now we're going to fire the 5 bamboo darts. Hit. Hit. Miss. Hit. Miss. Alright, let's head inside and give you our final thoughts. Dear God, I am burning to death out there. I don't know if you can tell how hot it is from the video or how much I'm sweating. I'm not sure if that'll show up on camera, but I'm like dripping sweat. It's like 108 in California right now. Anyway, back to the numbers. This blaster, with its included ammo, the Dart Zone Max ammo, is really accurate. 55 feet, 5 out of 5 tags. Easy. Didn't even have to think about it. The darts just went basically where I wanted them to go, within a reasonable distance. Now, this doesn't have any rifling attachment, so this is pretty good, all things considered. But I definitely think that with a SCAR barrel, or some kind of rifling attachment, this could definitely be increased to be more accurate and even further. It can definitely hit farther than the limited space of 60 feet that we have access to at the moment for testing, especially laying down the FPS numbers that it is. Now, moving on to the bamboo darts, we got 3 out of 5 of the shots to go into the target. Now, one of those 3 out of 5, if you could see it, was questionable at best, because what actually happened is that it hit the lip of the target and then went down directly, barely made it in. But I counted it because it technically got in there. That being said, there was, other shots that hit the outside of the rim, which, again, that target is roughly the width of a person, definitely the same width as like my shoulders. So if it was a little bit above or a little bit below, that person was standing out in the open, it would have been a hit, but it doesn't count for our testing. So definitely a decrease in accuracy with the bamboo darts. And that's kind of what I was expecting. That's generally what I noticed from my Mark III performance when I was testing that. And if you want to see either the Mark III original video, I'll put that up here. Or if you want to see the modified version where we tested it again with a more powerful cage, hitting around 200, I'll put this up over here as well. Either way, that's pretty consistent with that testing to see what's going on here. Now, another feature that I haven't quite talked about yet for this blaster is the ability to slam fire. And what slam fire is basically the ability to hold the trigger down and then continuously fire by moving back and forth the priming mechanism, which means you can let off a high rate of fire despite being a single shot blaster. So that's definitely a cool compromise between being a Springer and maybe like a flywheeler blaster. I wanted to be really excited for that feature, and I'll tell you right now, it didn't work as good as I wish it did. For like a short, quick couple darts, I think it's definitely something you could do, but beyond that, I did have some issues with jamming. I actually probably wouldn't use slam fire in a Nerf war, especially not a competitive type of Nerf war, but You know, some people do really like that option, so it's my job to test it. That being said, without even being under a stressful situation, I definitely managed to jam it, and the issue comes down to the drum itself not rotating fast enough in order to get the pusher through the little hole in the back here. And when that happens, you either jam the dart partially, or the pusher gets stuck behind here, and then you're stuck kind of wiggling it. When it does do that, it does kind of get stuck, so it's not something where you just like pull back, fix it, and align it real quickly. It gets kind of stuck, and you're sit there messing with it for a second. But again, for shots where you go one at a time, you're picking your shots like generally you should with a Springer, I don't have any issues. It's only during that time where I'd use Slam Fire, and I'm using it to lay down a lot of dart. Maybe it's just me having these issues, maybe not. But this is a feature that a lot of people will probably get this blaster for, and in this case, it just doesn't work as well as it should, or maybe I had hoped it would. That being said, I still think this blaster is a win overall. Like I said, the price is a little bit high, you know, $69. Nice. But for what you get, I still think this blaster is totally worth it. There's a workaround for this that I'm going to talk about in a second. Now, in the event that you decide that the drum mag isn't the way to go for you, but you still want a blaster like this, like I mentioned, there is a design that I've seen in the works for replacing the drum mag with the ability to mag load. And in that case, I genuinely believe the Slamfire will work flawlessly because it doesn't have that in-between point from rotations to deal with. So I think that feature will be useful in that use case. That being said, the priming stroke is actually very short and makes it very easy to do Slamfire, which is cool, and the prime weight is not that heavy. Like I mentioned before, I really love the stock. Everything that they're doing right here is everything that I would love to see from them for other blasters. Like I said, from my experience with another blaster they released this year, which I'll mention in its own separate video, I think this would have been a better option for it and other blasters than some of the ones that Dart Zone has included. Now, there's another situation where I think this blaster really shines, and I haven't really seen anybody talking about this, so I just kind of want to talk about it right now, which is the situation as a loner blaster or a first-time blaster. If you get something like a Nexus for, you know, around the $50 mark, as it usually is in stores, yeah, it'll hit a little less performance than this, and it comes with mags, and mags are definitely a good way to go for long wars or multiple rounds or things like that. They're easily accessible, but if you are just a brand new player and you don't have any tactical gear, if you spend $50 on that, then you know, another, let's say, I don't know, $10 per magazine roughly to get, you know, either some workers or some more of the Dart Zone mags. To match the capacity of this blaster, you'd have to get 2 more mags to get at least to that 45 mark and still be 5 short. Then you're already spending somewhere around $20, and that puts that at the same category as this. In addition to that, how are you going to carry those extra mags? Well, it doesn't come with any system, so you'd need like a belt or a rig or some kind of something, even if it's in your pockets, like you'd need some way to carry that, and a lot of people won't have that. Also, they don't like running around with that if it's something that's either subpar or just they want to run with a very light loadout. With this one, you don't have to carry anything on you. All 50 of your darts are right here, and that is a wonderful feature. Man, it is hot, and I am stuttering and sweating, and Jesus. If I make a lot of mistakes on this one, you're gonna have to forgive me because I'm practically having a heat stroke out here. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is that this is an excellent loner blaster. You can get a lot of entry-level players with this blaster. You can hand someone this with no other gear, load them up with their darts, and they're ready to go. And this is a complete package. A very good and capable complete package. 110% recommend this as a loner blaster over pretty much anything else in this power category. I mean, for darn's sake, it even comes with iPro. I don't know what else to say. Like, I just don't know how to convey that any more than I already have. But yeah, I mean, you guys will try it out for yourself. Another thing that's kind of cool about this blaster is, yes, I did test it with Mega Ammo using its own muzzle, but it does in fact fit the same muzzles that Dart Zone already offers, which means very simply and easily, you can put a Nexus or a Max Striker or an Aeon Pro muzzle in here, and considering that the power works better and that Megas fire better generally out of these and the Max Striker ones. I think this even looks better than the muzzle. Definitely get some better performance out of this with Megas. And this will actually shoot rivals. As we saw, rivals don't really fit in the Tomcats, even if Megas do. I don't know if you can see that, but a drop of sweat just dripped off my elbow. That's how incredibly hot it is here. I feel like I'm losing my mind here in the heat. Yeah, with this muzzle on here, I think it looks better actually, but it just leaves you a lot of options. I think that they're kind of making their own version of like the N-Strake lug, basically just providing something that friction fits, that's compatible, and with a few simple other parts or blasters from their ecosystem, you can mix just some basic attachments around and get a whole new look out of this blaster and other blasters. So that's something that's super cool. Overall, I really do love this thing. I'm glad I got it. I wouldn't even think of returning it, and I know I keep saying this, but I'm going to circle back to it. This stock alone, I wish was available for purchase. I would buy just this stock. It's that good, at least in my opinion. The other thing is I've been hearing some rumors here and there that they might actually do what we've been wanting them to do with Super Drum Mags for a long time, and that's release separate drum mags for us to purchase. And if so, that becomes even better because these are finally at a low enough profile with half lengths to be carried as a loadout. Like, I could totally fit this in a bag and carry another one and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But we've all just kind of been wanting something like this, even if it's impractical, because it's fun. And this blaster is striking the best of both worlds, aside from the slam fire issue. Like I said, the way that I would fix this is something that I already kind of wanted to do to the blaster, which is convert it. This would definitely be a good CQB under 200 blaster once that is done. Anyways, that's my thoughts on this blaster. I'll be covering some of the remaining blasters in the lineup, like the Dart Zone Pro Tournament blasters, the Mark 1.2 and the 2.1 in the near future. I've still got the Vulcanator left on my to-do list, and a few other things coming up soon. But that's all for now. Until next time, unless I have a heat stroke, on the King of Games, have a blast. I'll see ya. What's up? Thank you. Oh, I got him. Forget about that one. Oh, I'm dead. Dead. Grab two. One. I can't grab two at a time. Yeah, here.